Good evening and welcome to the final round of the Taco Tuesday series in the Formula Racing League. We are at the Laguna Seca circuit in California where a new champion will be crowned. The first Tier 3 champion of Taco Tuesday within the FRL will be crowned. Will it be Mackenzie? Will it be Ryan? Or will it be Cord? The firm favourite will be Mackenzie as he is 20 points ahead of Ryan and 32 clear of Cord. All he needs to do is finish in the top 10 no matter where the others finish in order to clinch the title. Tom Cairns is your commentator for this evening's action. This is free practice in case you are wondering, as the drivers gather some mileage before the racing gets underway very, very soon. We currently have 18 drivers in the lobby at the moment. We've got a couple of reserves that are currently in, including Gerhawk and Chatty Duck. We don't know whether those two will be in for the race because from what I've been told, they are meant to be in Tier 1 to make up a full grid in that tier. If that was to be the case, we would have 16 drivers in for tonight's 90-minute special that will include a mandatory 2 pit stops. The drivers will need to change tyres. In terms of what happened last week, Brooker made it 4 different race winners in the last 4 races after completing an overcut on the likes of Daru and Frank to claim a brilliant victory for himself. Can he end the season on a high here on this magnificent driver's favourite Laguna Seca circuit? And Daru's fastest in this session so far on a 1:23.3. Nearly 4 tenths clear of Nez in P2, who got in touch with me before tonight's action that he'll be pitting at the end of the first lap so that he can grab some fresh air, but the pit stop he'll make will be one of his 2 mandatory pit stops. So that'll leave him with a lot to do during the course of this evening's action. I'm sure he'll enjoy the challenge anyhow. As Mackenzie, who has yet to pick up a race victory this season. In fact, him, Ryan and Cord have not won a race this season. Darskell has won the most with 5, but he's no longer competing in the championship. Daru has won a race himself, as has Jay Brooker, as has Prentice, as has Frank. So Frank, who could end the championship in 4th position, if he can finish, looking at where he is behind Darskell, if he can just pick up 16 points, which will mean a 15th place finish at least, then he will leapfrog Darskell into 4th place. Princess coming out of turn 3. I think that's turn 3 anyway. And Mackenzie going for a spin on the exit. Turn 4 there, avoiding Brooker, who goes past him. Brooker is currently 8th in the Aston Martin. Ainsley and Knott, who had a good round last week and a good round at Indianapolis, he'll be looking to end the season in a blaze of glory, perhaps going for a podium finish. It is a long race. It will be a long race later on. Not 100% certain whether it will be in the dark or whether it will be in daylight. We'll just have to wait and see on that. My personal preference would be for it to be done in the day, but we'll wait and see. And whilst we've got the Drivers' Championship on the line, we've also got the Teams' Championship involving all 3 of those drivers. Well, SBR T3 go into the last round in the lead by only 9 points over Finnef Oldies in second, with BBR Racing a further 11 points adrift. Now, SBR-T3 are comprised with Ryan and Cablo. Finavaldis have Cord and Yaki, and BBR Racing have Mackenzie and Brooker. Now, BBR Racing have outscored their rivals in the last couple of rounds convincingly, so they could really do with a repeat of that here tonight, and that'll wrap up what could effectively be a double should Mackenzie come away as the champion this evening. I wonder what the new year will hold for the drivers. Some of them race in the other championships in the Formula Racing League. It's not just the Taco Tuesday series. You can find all of what the league does in the YouTube description. You can keep up to date with what's happening on Facebook, on Instagram, and you can get involved in the FRL's Discord server. Well, there's Prentice, who had a tough time last week at Watkins Glen, finishing outside the top 10 in the end. And the reason for him going so slowly in the closing stages was because he was running short on fuel. He still got to the end, a lap down on the leader. And there's Matthews, who had a good time of it 7 days ago, crossing the line in a respectable 7th place. And Mike has now joined the lobby, so we could possibly have 19 drivers in for tonight. Matthew stays out of the way. Cordy's in the pits at the moment. Vaco is currently 12th fastest as we speak. There's Chatty Duck, who's yet to get a time on the board. Considering that he was meant to be in Tier 1 earlier, I just wonder how quick he's going to be during the course of tonight. Good to see him fight at the front with the likes of Daru and Nez. He's still going on his way. Wanting to gather as much mileage as possible. He'll want to try and get a lap time in so that he can compare himself to the rest of the pack. We can get in front of Davison, MPL and Gerhawk. There's a full second difference between Yaki in 13th and Davison in 14th. There's Duck. Runs wide on the exit of the last turn as he crosses over the line, and he's well off the pace, 7.4 seconds off the pace. So he's got some work to do from there. Here's Cablo, who has been getting to the end of races. He was 15th last week in Watkins Glen, 16th at Indianapolis. He hasn't had the best of seasons despite competing in every single round this campaign. He's one of only 4 drivers to have done that. Mackenzie, Ryan and Cord are the other 3. Cablo, whose lap is seemingly neat and tidy. He's coming down the pit straight, and this should be a lap time for him here. And unfortunately not on this occasion, so he'll have to go again. Duck is on another lap by the looks of it, and this is where he nearly lost it actually on the previous run. It was a slightly better time of it through there on this lap, but he just needs to just keep the car on the circuit and avoid running wide. So Chutty. He's coming over the line now, and is this going to be an improvement in lap time? It's not, unfortunately. It must have been an invalidated lap or something, or it was well off the pace to last time. MPL out on circuit. 13th, 7 days ago at Watkins Glen. His best result this season has been 6th at Mount Panorama, pushing ever so hard. And here's Matthews, who looking to build on his brilliant drive last week. He's coming over the line now, and it's not an improvement in lap time or position, so stays in 10th. Here's Brooker. Stays 6th. Mackenzie, who's the highest of the championship contenders so far, in 4th. Ryan 8th, and Cord 11th. And Cablo's latest lap has moved him up to 17th, leaving Mike the only driver out of the 19 to yet to get a lap on the board. And Mackenzie does not improve his time, so he stays where he is. The 5.64 of Duck heads over the line, and it's not an improvement. And the 2.42 that's next, which is Nez. He stays where he is in P2, having a good practice session so far. 74 coming up, which is Gerhawk, one of the 2 reserve drivers for tonight. His lap time is not an improvement either. And Cablo moves up to 16th place. That's a big improvement there in the Bentley. And Mike, who's struggling to keep his car points in the right way, he has a little touch with the wall there. I think he's heading straight back to the garage to get some repairs done. So number driver's just pushing a little bit too hard at the moment. And there's continuing to go for it. And Mike is still languishing on the side of the track. I'm not sure what's going on involving him there. And he can't just leave the car there. Not sure what is going on involving him. There's heading over the line. And it's not an improvement for him there. Well, Mike has got going again now. I don't know whether he accidentally turned off the ignition or something, but it's not the best of signs. Stays out of the way of the driver coming through. That was the 986 of Matthews, who runs wide on the exit of the last turn. Got the number 1 of Davidson crossing over the line now. No improvement from him. Got the 777 of Mackenzie. Breaks for the penultimate turn, the right-hander. And then this is turn 11 coming up to complete the lap. So McKenzie's time is not an improvement, so he stays where he is. We've got the 5.64 going through, and there's not an improvement there from Chatty Duck. And there's continuing to push as hard as he can, but not enough to move him up the order. Less than 2 minutes to go before the checkered flag, signalling the end of practice before the drivers prepare for a qualifying session of 15 minutes to determine the grid. And there's a championship point up for grabs. Whoever gets it remains to be seen. So we've got the 986 of Matthews going through. We've got a number of drivers heading over the line. Well, Mike's got a time on the board now, but he's 13 seconds off the pace. I'm hoping we see an improvement in lap time and race performance from Mike. Let's see how he gets on his last attempt. Rather smooth so far, it has to be said. Now, Mike's best finish this season has been a 9th place finish at Mount Panorama. You remember he had that last lap battle with Facco overtaking him before they cross over the line to take the checker flag, and the checker flag is out now here at Laguna Seca. And looks like a pretty clean lap so far from Mike. There is a car coming up behind him though, so he'll probably be reluctant to move out of the way here. That's MPL trying to go ahead of him. I think this is the problem with Mike in terms of how slow he is in comparison to the other drivers. He does improve his time, but he only improved it by a second, and he ended up free practice session 12 seconds off the pace. And on a track like this, that's not very long at all. And you look at the lap times with the other drivers, it's not good enough really. So it's a 10-minute qualifying session to determine the grid. So previously it's been 15 minutes, but seemingly it's been cut down to 10. Presumably for it being a 90-minute special. And I saw Advantage come out of the pits there, but he didn't take the full exit like most of the other drivers have done. He should be fine with that, but he won't be allowed to do that in the race, I doubt. So will Vantage be on pole? He had a brilliant drive from the pit lane last week to get up to 5th position. This is his out lap at the moment. Most of the drivers are out on circuit now. Got the 2-on-2 and the 3-2-1 still in the pit lane. That's Frank and Daru. Just waiting for a gap in the traffic, I think. Well, Frank is leaving the pit lane now, so... No, so Daru's leaving the pit lane now. And his Vantage, he will stay with during the course of this lap, as he will be the first driver to cross over the line. Vantage making his way through turns 5 and 6. There's the corkscrew coming up for 7 and 8. A downhill chicane that has seen many accidents over the years. Some of which drivers have survived, others haven't. Vantage is coming up to Mike. Now I'm worried as to whether Mike will allow him to go through. He probably won't do. You can see Vantage is flashing his lights there to make Mike aware that he's coming through. Having said that, Mike is about to start a flying lap now. So Vantage over the line. And suppose the first time in the session it's a 1:24.0. But I doubt that will be the fastest by the end of the session. Here's Brooker, who's coming through the last turn. A few drivers ahead of him crossing the line to set their first lap times. Davidson gets the laps on the board, as has Cord. Ryan also. Brooker goes up to second place, less than 4 tenths away from the provisional pole sitter of Vantage. Facco goes up to 4th with a 1:25.5. And we see Nez narrowly displacing Brooker before Prentice goes up to the front row, a 10th away from Vantage with that effort. Got the 72 of Yaki crossing over the line now, and he goes up to 7th place, nearly 2 seconds off the pace. Got the 3-2-1 of Frank starting the lap now. We've got the 16 going over the line. That's Liam Knott, who goes to the top. So Liam Knott, the first into the 1:23s in this qualifying session with less than 6 minutes remaining. Could he be the surprise in this qualifying 10-minute session? There's Daru, who's just gone past Mackenzie, who's stopped on the circuit, and he hasn't got a lap time on the board yet, so he's got some work to do as Mackenzie from that. Now Daru is heading over the line, and he goes fastest with a 1:23.4, so he carries on with the pace that he had set in practice, and he's half a second clear of everyone else. Gerhawk, who's making his first appearance in the Taco Tuesday series in Tier 3, going through turn 4. Caballot's just exited the last corner. Is he going to get his first time of the session registered? And the answer is yes, and he goes 13th. Frank is coming through. He should be in the top 3, I would say. Certainly in the top 5. He's not in the top 5, he's only 7th fastest. Not as good as people had expected him to do that. The 986 of Matthews is coming through next. Braking for turn 11. He's nearly 3 seconds off the pace previously. He's still nearly 3 seconds off the pace despite improving by a small margin. As we watch, that looks like, was that Yaki that went off the circuit? Might well have been. Well, Mackenzie's gone off track on his outlap, so he stays out of the way. He got out of the way of Nez, actually, who was on a fast lap. Oh, he nearly dropped it though, did Mackenzie. And I think he's going to go back into the pit lane again. He is, so Mackenzie with a lot of work to do. Nez over the line, goes second fastest. We've just seen Liam Knott go back to provisional pole, so Knott absolutely flying in this qualifying session. He's only 3 thousandths of a second clear of Nez in second place, with Daru 300ths of a second away from pole. Very, very close indeed. This is the closest we've seen all campaign, if I'm honest. Brooker pushing ever so hard. Vantage looking for an improvement. Prentice is stuck in the pits at the moment. Frank is in P7 with Ryan in 8th, heading towards turn 6 now. We've got the 986 of Matthews, who's coming into the last turn. MPL right behind. MPL one of 2 drivers yet to get a time on the board. And Matthews goes 13th, or stays 13th. MPL should get a lap time on the board. He goes 14th fastest. Nearly a whole second behind Matthews. And we've got Chutty Duck, only 18th fastest behind Mike. Gerhawk, who's just gone into 14th place. Mackenzie's on his outlap. So he needs to get a move on here and get a time on the board. The championship is very much on the line. Ryan is 8th, Cord 10th. Mackenzie down in 19th without a time on the board so far. The lights flashing behind Mackenzie. Is that Vantage, I think, who's coming through. I think Mackenzie was trying to stay out of the way. He's having to go off track. There are plenty of cars coming by. He's back up on track now, but I reckon this lap he's about to start will end up being invalidated because he ran wider than the exit of the last turn. And he can gain an unfair advantage by doing that. Leonard has just started his final, well, I say his final attempts. He's got a lot of work to do from where he is. There is Prentice, who is about to start his last attempt. Got the 986 of Matthews, who's coming through. No improvement from him either. MPL does not improve in the BMW. Got the 564 of Chutty Duck. And his time is not an improvement. He stays in P18. The 74 of Gerhawk remains 14th. And we've got the 212 of Nez coming through. And has just seen Daru improve to a 122.7. 6/10 clear of everyone else. What can Liam not respond with? He's got the 46 of Vantage, who's crossing over the line now to start his final attempt. And he's gone up to 4th place now as Vantage. Liam cuts down the margin, but remains in P2. Nez has started his last attempt. There's Frank in P7. Mackenzie up to 9th then. That's more respectable from him. Now Cord needs to get an improvement. He's got time for one last attempt, albeit with 7 seconds to go. He hasn't improved this time around, so he's got to absolutely throw everything at it as Cord. There's Liam Knott pushing, continuing to push. Ryan is on his last attempt. MPL goes 15th now, ahead of Gerhawk. And Ryan will be looking to move up the order. He really needs this. There's no way he's going to get pole the way things have gone in this qualifying session. He does not improve his time, so there's no pole position for him. We look further behind. We're seeing Mike go over the line in the Ferrari. Is this going to be an improvement in time at least? The answer is no, it's not. Got the 16 of Leonard heading over the line now. Is he going to be on pole? He's not. He's missed out by 600ths. A very, very good effort from Leonard, who just misses out there. Frank misses out. No pole position for him. Mackenzie moved up to 8th right at the end. So it's Daru for the 3rd time this season qualifying on pole position. That's a championship point going his way. Liam Knott making it an old Porsche front row in P2 ahead of Nez and Vantage in 3rd and 4th. Brooker, last week's winner, in 5th ahead of Prentice and Frank, and Mackenzie ran at the top 8. Ryan is 9th ahead of Facco on the 5th row ahead of Yaki and Cord in 11th and 12th. Cablo and Matthews ran at the 7th row ahead of MPL and Gerhawk. Davidson, a disappointing 17th place ahead of Mike, who beats Chutty Duck on merit in this qualifying session in 18th place. Chutty Duck qualifies for his first race in Tier 3 in Taco Tuesday in the FRL in 19th and last place. So the drivers are waiting in the pit lane. The formation that will begin before a rolling start. And with the fact that Ryan or Cord not getting pole position, Mackenzie now only needs to finish in the top 11 to be crowned this season's champion. And even if Ryan was to win the race, although having said that, if Ryan was to win the race, Mackenzie would still need to finish in the top 10, because although they would be level on points, Ryan would take the championship on countback because he had won more races than Mackenzie. So Mackenzie still needs to finish in the top 10 in order to guarantee himself the title. That's if Ryan was to win the race. With Cord, well, he needs to win the race, really, for Ryan and Mackenzie not to score. But having said that, if Ryan was to finish in P7 and Cord was to win the race, Cord would beat Ryan on countback. You would also need Mackenzie to not score. So the pressure is very much on. Having said that, Mackenzie has finished every single race this season. The lowest finish he's had has been 12th in Bathurst, Australia. So 1:22.7 has put Daru on pole by 0.06 of a second. And Nez and Vantage right in there too. Don't forget, Nez will pit in at the end of the first lap. And he'll rejoin as soon as when he feels ready to come back into the action. I'm a bit surprised he's decided to do that, especially when he's qualified well. So Daru looking to convert his pole position into the race victory. Couldn't do so last week. He was able to do a brilliant performance in Austin, if you remember, when he had won ever so convincingly. And he also got pole at Monza, so he's actually achieved 2 pole positions, well 3 now, but the previous 2 pole positions he's failed to convert them into the victory. Daru, will he be back in the Taco Tuesday series next season? It would be brilliant if he did, because he's competed very, very well since he made his debut at Monza. And had he had sustained that form, had he had started the season, he would have been right in the championship hunt, and I think he would have been champion. He would most certainly have given Darskell a run for his money, but having said that, Darskell is no longer competing in the championship, as he recently switched over to PC to do his ACC gaming and decided to hand over the PS4, or the PS5 I should say, to a kid of his, which is very, very nice for him. A very nice early Christmas present. Vantage, who's looking for victory as well. As I've already said, he competed brilliantly last week in Watkins Glen. He finished P2 overall on Sunday against quicker drivers than the grid here, which is a very encouraging piece of information. And we are just a few seconds away from the start of the formation lap. And it looks like Liam Knott has had issues. So he's just gone back into the pit lane, and his front row start is going to effectively become last. by the time this race gets going. And I'm not sure what on earth has happened to the Porsche driver. He will now start from the pit lane. I suppose the plus side of it, he will avoid any first lap mayhem. So Daru will lead the field on the formation lap. Nez will join him on the front row now, because Liam will be starting from the pit lane. Vantage moves up to third on the grid now. Also Brooker, Frank and Prentice on the third row. Mackenzie now 7th ahead of his nearest championship rival of Rhine. Sacco and Yaki running out the top 10. It's Cord ahead of Cablo. Matthews ahead of Gerhawk, with MPL and Davidson on row 8. Mike and Shafty Duck rounding out the 9th row. And the 19th driver in this race, Liam Knott, will start from the pit lane. So, I haven't done too much guide in terms of the Laguna Seca circuit. First opened in 1957. And it's played host to the IndyCar series. A total of 25 occasions, I think that's correct. IndyCar series anyway. It's played host to the IMSA Sports Car Championship. That's the American Le Mans series, in case you were wondering. It used to play host to a MotoGP round in the United States, apparently so. It's an FIA Grade 2 circuit. 3.6 kilometres long as well. 2.2 miles with only 11 turns. And we expect a 60-lap race in this 90-minute special with 2 mandatory pit stops included. Here we go then. This is the championship decider. Will Daru come away with a victory, and who will be crowned champion? And it's go! The green flag is waved and the drivers are off! Daru gets off to a good start. We've got Vantage making a move on Nez as they come towards the first right-hander, or the first left-hander, that is the Andretti hairpin. Daru stays in the lead then, with Nez in second place, followed by Vantage in third place. Brooker protecting his 4th position ahead of what looks like Frank, who may have dropped back a little bit. He has, he's dropped a couple of positions. And look at that. Oh, that's McKenzie! The championship leader is in the wall already! So McKenzie in the Lexus has crashed on the exit of turn 3. He's back on track, but he'll be in the pits at the end of the opening lap. Disaster for the championship favourite. That's the last thing he would have wanted. He couldn't have got to a worse start, but McKenzie is already in trouble. Well, there's Ryan, who's showing in 7th place. Look like we've got a car off the track. That's Nez who is off. So Nez is off the track, pointing the wrong way on the exit of turn 6. So Vantage goes into 2nd place. Frank is in 3rd place now. Vantage is, Prentice is in 4th, ahead of Brooker, and Ryan's up to 6th. So as it stands with the positions as they are, I think someone's just come into the pit lane. I think that's Prentice who's got a bit of damage to that car. I think he was the one that made contact with Nez. And he's in the pits now for sure. So Prentice in to get one of his mandatory pit stops out of the way with the damage he's got. And I think Nez will be in the pits as well. And that's Vantage running wide on the exit of the Andretti hairpin. And he's falling back into the clutches of Frank and Brooker. Ryan up to 5th place now. Now 5th position would give him 32 championship points. And with Mackenzie down in what looks to be in 16th place, it would give him only 15. So as it stands, Mackenzie will still be crowned champion. Daru continuing to pull away. Vantage still continuing to put him under pressure. There's Frank running wide on the exit of turn 6, and that's going to allow Brooker to close in as they come up to the corkscrew for the second time. It's a long race, this one. Plenty of time for things to change. I'm just looking at Chatty Duck, who's made a tremendous start in this one. From the back of the grid, he's already up to 10th place. Mike having a cracking start as well, up to 12th in the Ferrari. And we've got Mackenzie, who is making his way back through the field a little bit now. He's up to 13th, so what looks like a complete disaster for him on that one. He's not as much damage as I first feared. I thought he'd have been in the pits at the end of that opening lap, but he's not. And there's Nez, who had that spin earlier. He didn't come in. Oh yeah, he did come into the pits. He did pit in at the end of the first lap, so he's got his first mandatory pit stop done out of the way. And I suppose the good news for him, he's got a lot of clear track ahead, and he'll use that to his advantage for when the leaders are coming into the pits to make their mandatory stops. There's Matthews in the pits also in the Aston Martin, so that'll move Mackenzie up another position. So Daru leads, Vantage second, Frank in third, had a Brooker, Ryan, Cord, Faco, Cablo, MPL and Duck. Your top 10 so far. There's Gerhardt and Mackenzie in 11th and 12th, as I've already mentioned. As it stands with the positions as they are, Mackenzie will be crowned champion. Frank ahead of Brooker, who's doing well so far. Ryan having a better race than recent there in 5th place, but he still needs to make up more positions. If he was to win the race and Mackenzie does not finish inside the top 10, he will be crowned champion. And he's about to make a move on Brooker, who made a mistake at the exit of the penultimate turn, and Ryan's got through. So Ryan ahead of the Aston Martin, and he puts his McLaren up into 4th place. Excellent, excellent manoeuvre there, but he needs to do more than what he's done already. And Cord needs to make up ground. This is a very, very slim opportunity for him to win the championship here. He'll give it a go nevertheless. And Vantage with the new fast lap of the race. He's only 4/10 behind Daru, and now he's right on his tail there, pushing ever so hard. This is only lap 4, but Vantage, I'm sure, will want to be at the front. He runs wide though. It'll be interesting to know how much fuel Ryan is running at this stage, because if he's going past cars as quickly as he has been doing so far, it could be a fuel situation. Because with it being a special race this evening, drivers can refuel when making their mandatory pit stops. And that could what could be the factor in Ryan's progress in this race. With a 986 in the pits, that is Matthews. He's been there for some time now. Not sure what's been going on there involving him. And it looks like Liam Knott has got past Davison now. He's up to 14th place after starting from the pit lane. So he's quietly making his way through the field. I'd be interested to know what happened to Knott just before the formation lap got underway. And all of a sudden, I think all of a sudden the game decided to throw Knott back into the pit lane. He's making a move on Frank now, not Frank, he's making a move on Mike. Mike pushing him out wide there very nearly. It was almost a little bit naughty that from Mike, the way he moved across on Knott, but Knott's got through. So Knott is through into 13th position as Matthews comes out of the pit lane, albeit a few laps behind, but at least, well, he's not done a mandatory stop there. If he did, it would have reduced the number of pit stops from 2 to 1 in terms of the mandatory pit stops required from him. So he's well out of touch with the rest of the pack. Prince is in at 18th place, on his own at the moment in the 433. I say on his own, he's behind cars that are a lap ahead of him. We do lose quite a lot of time in the pit lane here at Laguna Seca, given it is a short circuit, only 2.2 miles. In Formula 1 race here, there'll be a lot of racing laps. And that's Daru running wide on the exit of the Andretti hairpin. Mackenzie's in the pits now to get the first of his mandatory stops done and out of the way. Daru protecting his lead at the moment from Vantage. Neither of these two are in the championship hunt, so they can just battle it out for pride, really. But if they tangle, that could have a say in the championship, both drivers and teams championships. And Vantage looking to make a move on the inside of turn 6. Daru shuts the door on him and says, "No, you don't. You're not coming through there." He keeps hold of the position and he stays in the lead for the time being at least. Like I say, Vantage may be running slightly less fuel. Oh, I think Daru's off. Daru's gone straight on at the corkscrew. So Vantage's pressure on the Porsche has got the better of the Porsche driver, and Daru has dropped down the order. He rejoins in third place behind Frank, but Vantage is your new race leader. And that's Ryan in fourth position, and Daru holding Ryan up has allowed Brooker to close back in, and that's Ryan running wide there, and Brooker has done the same. So Ryan stays in fourth position for now. Cord is ahead of Facco in the fight for 6th and 7th. Cablo is having a better race so far in 8th. MPL ahead of Chatty Duck. Chatty Duck's a little bit further behind because that's Prentice who's trying to unlap himself from the BMW. And drivers have been warned as well about leaders coming up to lap them. They must get out of the way when they are being blue flagged. It is not an option. They have to do it. And as we watch MPL continuing to hold up Prentice. Remember, Prentice is a lap down, so MPL does not have to let him by if he doesn't want to. Although he may just decide to let Prentice go because he knows this is not his race. And it looks like Prentice is trying to get back through on the inside there. Does MPL leave him room? He does. And I think he'll let Prentice go through here. Yeah, he lets him go. So MPL does not fight it, and Prentice goes back through. Well, there's Vantage continuing to stretch out his lead. It's nearly 6 seconds at the end of the last set, so he's coming over the line to complete the 7th lap. And just seeing Daru drop back a couple of places now. So Daru having a really, really bad lap in the lead after qualifying on pole. He's down in 5th place now. There's a long way to go yet, though, and the pit stops can still change everything. Mackenzie's pit stop has seen him fall behind Nez. He was behind him anyway before both drivers pitted in. But Mackenzie just needs to finish in the top 10, remember, and the title is his guaranteed. Ryan is his nearest rival. As it stands, with Ryan in 3rd place, he would collect 36 points, and Mackenzie's down in 17th, would collect only 14. If the race was to end as it is, Ryan will be champion by 2 points. But there's a lot of drivers who are still yet to make a pit stop in this race anyway. So Ryan just needs to focus on what's ahead of him. He needs to get by Frank, really, to make the strategy work if he is going to be pitting sooner than his rivals. And we've got the 4-3-3 in the pit lane. That's Prentice, I think, has hit trouble. Or is he in to get his 2nd mandatory pit stop done and out of the way? That could be what it is. And I think the reason why he's done that is so that he doesn't get held up in traffic when he exits the pit lane. Vantage continuing to stretch out the margin. 7 seconds it is over Frank in P2. Then it's Ryan in 3rd position, Brooker in 4th, Daru 5th, Cord dropping further back in 6th place. And Prentice has made his 2nd mandatory stop. He is exiting the box now. He's not exited the box, actually. I'm just looking on the track map. He should be doing so soon. Unless he's adding more fuel in there or something. As we watch Ryan continuing to catch Frank. Oh, he's made a mistake on the exit of the corkscrew, and Brooker gets back ahead of him. And Brooker goes back into third place, Ryan down to fourth. That's good news for Mackenzie in the championship battle. As MPL, I think, has got in front of Cablo now, or Chatterdock has got in front of Cablo, and that explains why. Cablo's made a mistake. And he's continuing to spin round. And he rejoins behind Liam Knott there in 11th position. So not up to 11th. Continuing his fight back through the field. So 9 laps are done. This is the 10th lap of the race. And we've got Mackenzie running wide there on the exit of turn 6. Now, I'm not sure what's happened here. I think he was trying to stay out of the way of the leaders who were coming through. He allowed the 986, I think, to go by. That was Matthews, so he was actually a few laps behind him, and now he's let the race leader go through, which is Vantage, which Mackenzie won't be too fussed about. He'll be happy that Vantage is in the lead. If he thought Ryan was in the lead, then he'd have been in massive trouble. I can tell you that Prentice is still in the pits for some reason. I'm not sure what exactly is going on involving him there. I mean, he should have... I mean, he's done his mandatory stops, but he's not coming out of the pit lane at all. So I don't know what's going on there. The race winner, Indianapolis, seemingly not continuing. And there's Frank in P2 at the moment, Brooker third, with Ryan fourth. And behind him is Darby, who's beginning to make up ground after the early mistake he made. Continuing to run wide though, pushing as hard as he can. Daru is looking... Oh, someone's off the track. That's Frank. Frank has made a mistake on the exit of turn 5. He's dropped down the order. Corder's gone past him. Now, is Facco going to go past him? I don't think he is, because he's just a bit too far back. So Frank down to 6th place after that mistake. That allows Brooker into 2nd place. Ryan is back up to 3rd now. What a poor error that from Frank, who was running really, really well there in 2nd place. He's dropped 4 positions after that error. This is turning into a fascinating race so far. 11 laps down. Nearly 16 minutes in. Oh, is that Brooker? Brooker has stopped. What's happened there? Brooker has stopped. Has he hit the ignition by accident? I'm not exactly sure what's happened there, but Brooker had lost drive all of a sudden, and he's dropped well down the order now. He's back behind Frank. Now, did he do that to allow Frank to go back through? Because if he's had it coming together with him on the previous start, I wonder if that's the reason. And look at that, Facco pushes Brooker out wide. Brooker will not like that one bit. He won't be too happy with Facco's driving there. But all of that has allowed Ryan into 2nd place. That's been handed to him on the plate for sure, but I'm sure he'll take it. So he's in 2nd place now. Daru right on his tail. Ryan needs to go for the victory, really, to maximise the chances of claiming the title. If he can do that, he needs Mackenzie to finish outside the top 10, and that will be mission accomplished. We've got a couple of drivers in the pit lane. Gerhoff is one of them. Davison is another. And it's just one of the back markers staying out of the way that looks like Matthews, who's way out of sync with the others. Daru in third, Cord now up to fourth place. He'll be feeling a little bit better. This has been a better race for him so far than in recent races. He hasn't finished in the top 5 though since the 4th round of the season in Mount Panorama. Since then it's been 18th in Zolder, 6th at Monza, 9th in Austin, 13th in Indianapolis, and 9th in Watkins Glen. And that's not exactly championship winning form by any stretch. We're not expecting any rain during the course of this race, so it'll be a dry race throughout, it seems. And that's the kind of race the drivers want. I remember back in Monza and Austin where the drivers just struggled so much in the wet conditions. I think Brands Hatch was another example as well. So Cord running in 4th place. Frankers is still ahead of Facco. And Brooker's dropped back from Facco, so not making any inroads at the moment. Leonot is in 10th place, he's got by Yaki. Next man ahead of him is Chatty Duck. He's closing up on MPL. He's having his best race since Mount Panorama. Ryan's not really making inroads on the race leader at the moment. He's having to fend off Daru more often. He needs to pull away from him. I don't know whether he's got the car underneath him at the moment, but he's not going very quick. He's not going quick enough by any means. And Daru is desperate to get back through. Challenge for the lead once again. And they've got the 166 spinning around there. Not who's that? That's spun round. That'll be Brooker who's gone for a spin. So Brooker went for a spin on the exit of the corkscrew. There's Facco still chasing Frank, who's chasing Cord. Daru continues to fight it out with Ryan. 20 minutes of this race have gone. 70 minutes still remaining. It's anyone's game as they go through turn 4. So Ryan in 2nd place and Mackenzie in 14th. 17 points for Mackenzie. 38 for Ryan would see Ryan champion by just 1 point. So it's important he does not lose this position to Daru. He's piling on the pressure here. Mackenzie just needs another position really. Well, Nez is doing well with the track position he's got, but the only problem is he's got the Audi of Vantage looming in behind to lap him. And Davidson's just come out of the pits there. The liveries may be very, very similar. But Nez is not making it very easy for Vantage at the moment. And Vantage is through, no problem. Nez in 13th, Mackenzie not far behind in 14th place. As Chatty Duck has got ahead of Brooker now, so Brooker I think has made another mistake somewhere. Because he was running in 8th, but I think MPL and Chatty Duck have got past him. Has Brooker had another spin? And is he carrying a problem? I'll tell you what, Liam Knott is right on his tail now, and he started from the pit lane, remember. Brooker continuing to run wide, and Leonot has got past him. Now Knott is through into 9th position. Brooker dropping further and further back. Now Nez, he was challenging with Vantage on the opening lap. He's still right on his tail. He can unlap himself if he wants to, but he needs to pull away from Vantage if he was to do that. Now Ryan, he's still got Daru right behind. That was something like 15 seconds the last time I saw. And it looks like Mackenzie's gone for a mistake there. He needs to be very careful. He does not rejoin in the path of other drivers, stays out of the way of the championship rival of his, of Ryan. That would have been very, very controversial had they come together there, but Mackenzie was very thoughtful of their presence and stays out of the way there, but he's lost even more time thanks to that spin. Vantage is 17 seconds clear of Ryan. He's absolutely flying. Unbelievably brilliant. Completes his 17th lap. And now we're seeing a battle for P2. Ryan keeping Daru behind. Cord, he's not having to challenge too much in this race so far. Doing a good job in 4th place. This will not be enough for him to be crowned champion, whatever happens here. He needed a miracle going into this race. And he's not going to get that. We will want to end his season on a high and get on the podium if he can. I've just seen that Davison came out of the pit lane, but didn't take one of his mandatory pit stops, and that could be because he didn't change his tyres when he came into the pits. That could well explain it. And we've got the 84 in the pit lane, that's Cablo, who comes in for his first mandatory stop. Prentice has been in the pits for some time. I think that's his race over, unfortunately. And we've got the 74 going for a spin now. And that's Gerhawk. He needs to be careful not to rejoin in the path of other drivers there. Hitting the wall also. Yeah, he's back on track now in 16th place. And Ryan has lost ground. He's lost positions to Daru and Cord. I'm not sure what's happened there, but Ryan has lost a couple of positions and he's down to 4th place. Now that would give Mackenzie the title with Ryan finishing there and Mackenzie finishing 13th. That's going to leave Ryan with a lot of work to do now. So Vantage pushing as hard as he can. Daru back into 2nd place. He's a long way behind the man in your picture there in focus, and the number 46 Audi. This is a battle. Well, it's not a battle. It's Nez who's a lap behind. He's looking to get back into the action. He hasn't got anyone to fight with at the moment. I'm sure that will be okay with him. And Daru running in second place. Cord, who is third, ahead of Ryan. Frank is fifth, ahead of Facco. And Leonard is in P7 now, doing a stellar job in the Porsche. Miguel 8, continuing a good drive so far, ahead of Chatty Duck, who's a bit further 3 seconds back, or 7 seconds back I should say. Jackie 10, Brooker in 11th. I wonder when the leaders are going to come in for their first mandatory pit stops. Looking around now, really, as Ryan comes in. So as I speak, Ryan comes in for the first of his 2 stops. This has to be inch perfect. The refueling, the tyres, any repairs, it has to be done ever so quickly to keep him in the hunt for this championship. So Knott will go through, MPL will go through, Chatty Duck will go through, Yaki and Brooker will go through. So I would say Ryan will rejoin in 11th position. And get out in some clean air, that would be brilliant for Ryan as he'll exit the pit lane soon. Vantage is coming to lap him. If that's, well, no he won't, because he's in the pits right now. So Vantage is in from the race lead. And it looks like Ryan's just done his stop now as well, so he will rejoin behind Nez in 12th position. But he's crucially ahead of Mackenzie. Dara will go back into the lead for now at least. As Cord is just lapping Davidson. He's a long way behind the rest of the pack. So Cord goes through into second place. And Frank is coming in also from 4th position. A little clout with the wall there. Baco goes up to 3rd place. And looks like Liam is going to go through into 4th position now. With MPL came through there as Shatterduck is coming round. Vantage is exiting the pit lane now. He's going to go out in front of Chatty Duck though. He's coming towards the Andretti hairpin. I don't think he's going to get in front of the Audi as it's coming out of the pits now. So Vantage stays ahead. He's in 6th position on track. Well, Frankie's exiting the pits. Nez has gone past him, who's already stopped. Ryan will also go past him, but Mackenzie's too far back, so I think Frank is going to rejoin in 12th position. And Mike is that him who has just gone for a spin there, or was it the number 16 of Leonard who was just going past him? It might be the latter, but Knott is continuing to push hard as he can. He's got all the clear track ahead of him at the moment, so he will make good use of that. So it's very dark now here at Laguna Seca, which will make it even more challenging for the drivers. We have done 22 laps of racing, targeting around 60 laps for this one. And we'll know who will be crowned champion by the night's end. So we're not Continuing to go on his way. You can see Nez, who's running in the fine 10th position. As we watch Vantage run wide there on the exit. He got put off there by the... Who was that who was going off the track? That was Matthews, who was off the circuit. And that's allowed Chatty Duck to close in on him a little bit. Now, Vantage, he had a really handsome lead over Daru anyway, so I doubt that Vantage will lose the lead once Daru comes in for his first stop. And Chatty comes in for his first stop. So at least Vantage won't have to worry about him. And it looks like Daru is continuing to pull clear. Cord is in second place. Vaco is third. Ryan is behind Nez at the moment, so he needs to push hard and hard and hard. God, Epson last turn. He's almost coming up to lap. McKenzie, who's already stopped in this race. Cord hasn't yet. And in fact, Trusty Duck has just done his first stop now. He'll be exiting the pit lane very shortly. It's like Daru. And we've got a stop and go penalty being dished out to Chatty Duck, unfortunately. So he'll have to be making his way into the pit lane within the next few laps. MPL pits from 5th place. Clouts of the world doesn't get slowed down really. And there's Cord. Continuing to do well. There's Daru. Running in P1. Towards the last turn. We'll put a lap on MPL, who's in the pit lane. And we've got Matthews in also to get his first momentary stop done now. And Frank is in to get his second stop done. Very early in the race to get that completed. I wonder if he's just doing it purposely to get it done now and then not having to worry about coming to the pits again later. That could possibly be the case. Got the 166 going off track. That's Brooker, who's run wide at turn 6 but has continued. And Yaki's run wide at the corkscrew as well, so he has had a moment. Now Chatted up with his stop and go. He'll have to serve that within the next couple of laps. So all of this has moved Mackenzie back into 10th place. So wherever Ryan finishes, that will give Mackenzie the championship. And there's Liam Knott continuing to close in on Facco in the fight for 3rd place on track. Doing very well indeed is Liam. There's 1.9 seconds in the last sector. What is it in sector 2 here? It's got to be less than that shortly. No, it's back up to 2.2. Facco has responded. Sparks being trailed there by this number 16 Porsche. As Liam continues to close in on the Ferrari of Facco. Wonder what the gap is now as they approach the line. It'll be less than that for sure. And the answer is 1.2. As Cord comes in, he was in second place before he entered the pit lane. They'll move Vantage back ahead of him. But Daru still leads the race. On track. He's got 2 mandatory pit stops still to make. Vantage has got only 1 more to do. And that looks like Cord has just exited his box now, so he'll be behind Brooker, who's yet to stop. I think he's going to get out in front of Ryan, you know. He's coming onto the pit straight. And Ryan is firing down now, but I think Cord is going to come out ahead of him here. There's Ryan, there's Cord. Has Cord completed the overcut on him? I think he has. So Cord is ahead of Ryan. That's important for Cord. I think he'll be... I doubt he will win the championship by the end of tonight, but at least for the sake of pride, he's ahead of his closest rival in the title battle, which will still see Cord finish 3rd and Ryan 2nd. And it looks like Knott is right on Paco Sale. In fact, he's got in front of him. So Knott is past the Ferrari and up to 2nd now. That is a really, really... Well, I say it was a really good manoeuvre. Paco ran wide on into the last turn, but Knott won't care. He's through into P2. Still yet to make a pit stop in this one. But this is a very, very encouraging race for sure. I think we have lost a driver from the race. I'm just trying to see who that is, because we've only seen 18 drivers in there. There should be 19. I think we may have lost... I think it was Gershaw who we've lost. Some time back. Just trying to see when we did lose that driver. Yeah, Gerhawk, I should say, not Gershaw. I don't know why I said Gershaw then. Gerhawk it was, and he left the server quite some time ago. So we've got 17 runners in this race. Davidson's in the pits again. Frank has been in the pits for a long time now. I'm not sure what's been going on there for Frank. He's been in there for absolutely ages. And a stop and go penalty has been given to Davidson, not for the first time this season, but he's come out of the pits there. I'm not sure that's the correct way of coming out of the pits, but that's not the reason why he's been given the penalty there. Nez is in the pits, as is Yaki, who's just done his first stop. Nez is there to complete his 2nd. And he'll go to the end once that's done, so... Yeah, Frank could well be out of the race now. He's so far behind the rest. And all this is playing into the hands of Mackenzie, who has done his final stop. Or his final mandatory pit stop. And he can just cruise to the flag from there. So Frank absolutely gutted, really, with the performance from him tonight after the spin he had whilst he was in 2nd place. As we watch Daru put a lap there. Is that Cord who's just put a lap on? It is. So Cord having to get out of the way of the leader there, who's got through ahead of him. And that was the 242 who's just coming out of the pits. That was Nez. So Nez, who's already a lap down, could well be going 2 laps down very shortly. But he's already done 2 stops. Daru hasn't done a stop yet. And Davidson will still need to serve that stop and go very soon. Frank is still in the pits at the moment. I'll tell you one driver who's had a respectable race so far, and that's Mike. He was running in 11th position. Hasn't been in too much trouble during the race so far. Could he pick up, all of a sudden, a top 10 finish by the end of this one? He's still got 2 stops to do, so I think it's going to be very, very hard for him to get up that high. Mackenzie's through ahead of him now into P11, so Mike down to 12th place. So we're just trying to see through the darkness here, so we can actually look at where the cars are. You can tell by the front headlights. As Chatty Duck comes in for his last stop of the race, his final mandatory stop. And it looks like we've got a change of position because Cablo has made a mistake, I think, somewhere, and he's dropped down to 10th place after his error. And Facco is in for his first stop now in the Ferrari, so he comes in, parks up behind Frank, who has not returned to the circuit. Davison also in the pits to get his stop and go done. And we've lost another driver from the race. Now, who's that we've lost? I think we lost Chatty Duck. So Chatty Duck is out of the race, not supposed to leave the server by the regulations. So there may be a ticket coming Chatty Duck's way unless he can explain his reason for exiting the server. So that's another driver gone from this race, unfortunately. Brooker is in the pits for his first stop now as well in the Aston Martin. Ryan goes up to 4th place on track. Now, Knott is a long way behind the race leader, Daru, but he's got a lot of clear track ahead of him. He's making very good use of it so far. And Daru's coming up behind the number 42. Who's that he's been stuck behind there? Well, it's the 242, I should say. And that's Nez, of all drivers. So we've got 15 drivers still running in this race. Davidson showing in 16th place, but he'll move up to 15th should Frank not return to the track. Matthews down 5 laps on the leaders, at least anyway. And we've got the race leader coming in now. So Daru comes in for his first stop. Can he slow down for the left hand as he enters the pit lane? The answer is yes. And that might allow Liam to go into the lead of the race. I wonder how much fuel he put in the car before the race began. And Knott is coming in also. That will put Farnsage back into the lead of the race. Now, just looking to see when Daru has exited his box. He hasn't done so yet. I think Ryan... Oh, he's a long way behind his Ryan. So there's no way he's going to be back into 2nd place. So Daru exits his box now. And he will rejoin in 2nd position. Knott should rejoin in 3rd place. Brilliant combat drive has been done so far by Knott. We've only just gone past the halfway mark. And Knott has not exited his box yet. So Ryan goes through into 3rd place. Cord should move into 4th place. Knott has exited his box now, but Cord will get in front. So Liam will rejoin in 5th position. So he's not exiting the pits now, but Facco's too far behind. So Knott will rejoin in the position that he's in 5th. Into turn 2 it is. And there's Ryan in 3rd. Now, if he was to finish where he is, that would not be enough to win the title because Mackenzie is running P11. He would win. Mackenzie would win the championship by just 4 points. Now, how far Daru's another 20 seconds up the road from Ryan. So Ryan's got to hope that Daru and Vantage make some form of error. But the problem is, if they don't score, or if they drop out now, that'll move Mackenzie up into 9th position. And that would guarantee Mackenzie the title, even if Ryan was to win the race. So 15 still running out of the 19 that started. Davison 8 laps down in 15th place. Matthews 6 laps down in 14th. And Mike a couple of laps behind in 13th and has still yet to make a couple of pit stops. Oh, and that's Ryan making a mistake there, and that's going to allow what looks like Vantage, not Vantage, sorry. That's Nez, I think, unlapping himself from him. Or was that Vantage? No, it wasn't Vantage. It would have been Nez that unlapped himself from Ryan. So looking at the team's championship whilst we were watching all this, if it was to remain as it is, there's still a lot of drivers yet to make pit stops, but if the race was to end as it is, the SVR T3 team, with Ryan in 3rd, which would give them 36 points, and Cablo in 10th, which would give them 22, that'd give them 58 points. Finnevaldis, with Cord and Yaki as those drivers, Cord in 4th place would get 34. Well, I say that, Cablo's just got overtaken by Mackenzie now. So Mackenzie up into 10th place, so Cablo down to 12th place, so Cablo would get 19 points instead. So so the SBR T3 team would get 55 championship points, if that's correct. Finnevaldis would collect, so Yaki would get 24, Cord would get 34, so that would give them 58 points. And BBR Racing with Mackenzie and Brooker, they're well down the order at the moment, so as it stands, SVR-T3 will still win the title, albeit by a very small margin. Brooker in 8th, MPL in 7th. Bucko in 6th place behind Knott, who's made his first stop. He's 7.7 seconds behind Cord. And continuing to push. And the gap between Daru and Ryan is... I'm just trying to see the gap at the moment, but I can't quite see it at this moment in time. So we'll just have to wait a moment before Ryan goes through the first sector, and we should know what the gap actually is. The gap now is 24.2 seconds. Daru is continuing to extend the gap over the McLaren pilot. 5.3 seconds. Mackenzie is behind Yaki in the battle for 9th. It's a guarantee for Mackenzie unless he makes a mistake in this one. Another mistake. He'll move up a few more positions once those ahead of him have done their final stops. Well, there's Mackenzie continuing. He knows where he is at the moment. Will guarantee himself the title, but he's run wide on the exit there of the last turn. That's going to allow Nez to close in. Now, Nez could play a factor in this championship also. Maybe even for the race victory, who knows, or maybe for a podium. Well, where he is in 11th place, he's down a lap on the leader. It looks like the 166 has made another mistake. That's Brooker. He's fallen behind. He's not fallen behind. He's fallen behind MPL. So MPL is in 7th place. Brooker in 8th. Mike comes in for his first stop of the race, finally, in the Ferrari. Advantage completes the 37th lap. Ryan in P3, that's Cord. He's not far in front of Knott, only 5 seconds. Now Advantage is on the brink of becoming the 5th different race winner in the last 5 races in Tier 3. Taco Tuesday in the FRL. Daru on course for yet another podium finish. His 3rd consecutive second place it would be. Well, if he collected pole earlier, he would collect 39 points, which, as it stands, would not move him in front of Thaco. It would not move him in front of Frank Ivor. So he would finish 7th, as it stands, unless Thaco was to drop out of the race. We've got a stop-and-go penalty being dished out to Mike for speeding in the pit lane. I think he's the 3rd driver in this race to have been received that for that particular reason. Davidson got into trouble for that earlier, as did another driver in the race. I'm just trying to remember who that was. It might have been one of the reserve drivers who was in for tonight. It would have been, actually, because neither of them are in the lobby. Yeah, it was Chatty Duck who was in the server earlier. So Mike will lose even more time. Having said that, he shouldn't lose a position to Matthews because there's a number of laps behind him anyway. So there could be a battle for 13th come the end of the race. Because we know that Matthews is a quicker driver than Mike anyway. Both drivers still have a pit stop to do. So the gap between Yaki and Mackenzie is down to 2.2 seconds. Mackenzie has already made his pit stops. Yaki's still got one more to do. So Mackenzie does not need to rush this. He's got Nez right on his tail. And one thing to note as well is track limits, because we just saw Nez go through the corkscrew there, and the whole of his car went over the white line as he exited. I don't think track limits will be too much of an issue. Nez continuing to run wide there, and he nearly went in the pit lane almost, but he's carried on his way. And it looks like he's got past Mackenzie on the inside. Mackenzie made a mistake, and that's allowed Nez to go through. Mackenzie down to 11th position, Nez up to 10th. Daru, who's over 25 seconds off the lead. Ryan in 3rd place. That will not be enough. If he was to remain in 3rd place and not reach any higher, he will need Mackenzie to fall further back than where he is at the moment. The gap was 20 points coming into this race. He would need Mackenzie to score 15 points or less. So he would need him to finish 16th or lower. So he would effectively need... Now I've just seen a driver exit the race. I'm trying to see who that is. And the answer to that question is MPL. So MPL has lost connection after a really decent drive in the midfield. Has all come to nothing really for MPL. So unless he can get back into the lobby in time, he is out of the race. And Mike has done his stop and go penalty now. So MPL's disconnection has moved Mackenzie back into a guaranteed championship winning position. And we've got a battle for 8th now between Yaki, Nez and Mackenzie. MPL has rejoined the lobby, which is good news. But that will not count as his mandatory pit stop. And as we watch Mackenzie run wide at turn 6, gets back on track. He won't want to be doing that too many more times. As Nez closes in on Yaki in the fight for 8th. Got just over 30 minutes remaining of this race. I did say around about 60 laps of racing. As we watch Nez go through on Yaki, and he's done it. He should have the inside line into the Andretti hairpin. And Nez is through, entering the corner. And it wasn't the most difficult overtake in the world, but an overtake is an overtake, and Nez will take it with both hands. And the next man ahead of Nez is Brooker in 7th, who's another 16 seconds up the road. Now Knott, who's running in 4th place, is catching Ryan as Vantage comes in for his final stop. It's the end of lap 42. Vantage comes in. It looks like Mike is in there also to get his final stop done. It looks like MPL is exiting the pit lane now after that stoppage for his, which is a terrible shame. But at least he'll rejoin ahead of Mike in 12th. There's Nez running in P8, pushing as hard as he can. So Daru takes back the lead for now. Ryan, I don't think he's going to get. Is he going to get in front of Vantage? I think he will do. If he is, then Liam Knott should move in front also. Now, Vantage has not exited his box yet. We'll let you know when he has done. He's done his stop now, and he's exited his box. Knott is coming through the last turn. Vantage is there. Will Liam Knott get in front of him? I'm going to say yes, but I may well be wrong. As they come up the hill. Yeah, I think Knott's guy is going to be in front of him for the time being at least. Yeah, as Vantage runs wide as he rejoins the circuit. No harm done. And there's Daru coming up behind Brooker, who's he's trying to lap Brooker. Hasn't done so yet, but will want to do that as soon as he can, really. Oh, they've come together there when Daru's off! Brooker has to take responsibility for that because Daru was trying to lap him for a sequence of corners, but just did not take any notice of his presence. You can see Daru's front light headlights are flashing there, but little too late, really. Brooker lets Daru through now, but Daru will be furious with him. Yeah, that was really silly, that, from Brooker, because Daru was trying to lap him, and Brooker just didn't leave him any room, and the blue flags were shown to him for a period of time. And Daru was the victim of that. I don't think that will cost Daru second place, because he was well clear of Ryan anyway, but that'll hurt his concentration and motivation between now and the end of the race. Cord running in 5th place. He's been a quiet race, to be honest with you, for Cord, but this has been his best race for about 5 weeks now, I think. Cord in 5th, Thaco having a decent race also in the Ferrari. This has been his best performance since Brands Hatch. And Brooker running in P7, he continues to run wide. This has not been a good race for Brooker. Anything like last week. So MPL at the moment is showing his 22.7 seconds behind. As Knott comes in from 3rd position now. Vantage goes back ahead of him. He should get out in front of Nez. It's been a long time since he did his last stop. Okay, we've only 25 seconds to go. In fact, Knott has already done his stop. So it's just a change of tyres there, seemingly, for Knott. And he's out on his way already, so that's a very, very good start. Here we go then. The battle for the podium is well and truly on. So Ryan has got to really push now to keep hold of that podium position. So Knott will rejoin in 6th place ahead of Brooker, who's a long way back from him. Nez won't get in front of him, neither will Mackenzie. So with not completing that stop, he's not as far behind Vantage as he was earlier because of that quicker stop. And Ryan comes in from P2 now. This is important. This needs to be a similar kind of stop to what Knott had. Stops in the box now. Where is Knott? He's just gone through turn 6. And Ryan, I don't know if he needs to put any more fuel in. Given his pace earlier on in the race, it looked like he was running a lighter fuel load than what a lot of the others were doing. Because we haven't seen this kind of performance from Ryan in previous races, but with it being a special tonight, drivers are allowed to refuel in the pit stops. And it looks like Knott is entering the last turn now. And I think he's going to get in front of Ryan. Yes, he will do. Ryan completes his start, but it's too late. Knott has got in front of him. So Knott is on course for a podium finish. That is bad news for Ryan in his championship hopes. We know Mackenzie's inside the top 10 anyway. But that will hurt Ryan a lot. Cablo in 11th place. Not having the best race after this spin earlier, but he's well clear of Mike anyway. So Cablo looking to continue his points. Well, he's done his 10th race out of 10 this season. One of 4 drivers to do that. As it stands with the way things have gone in the championship, he'll end up 9th overall. And Daru and Vantage are seemingly setting identical lap times, which is very interesting. I'm just looking to see what those lap times are. Well, we'll look at Daru, who's just posted a new fastest lap, 1:23.172. And if we look at Vantage, as Cord comes in for his final stop, Cablo also in the pits. So Ryan will go back in front of him. Not is already in front of Cord. Brooker will get in front also, but he's still got a stop to make. Nez will go past Cord. And I think McKenzie's going to go through as well. So that is a few positions lost there for Cord, unfortunately. So go back to what I was saying about the identical lap times that Daru and Vantage have been setting. They must be identical to each other. And they are identical at 1:23.172. Incredible pace. And Daru is on less fresh tyres than what Vantage is at the moment. So Cord rejoins in 10th. There's still a couple of drivers yet to stop in this race. Well, a few drivers ahead of him still yet to stop. Daru is one of them, but Cord is not going to get ahead of Daru. Well, with Leon not doing ever so well there in the Porsche after starting from the pit lane, could he possibly get second place from Daru? And it looks like Brooker has gone for a spin by the looks of things. He's jotted down the order, so yeah, this has been a race to forget for him for sure. Yaki in 9th. And looks like Davison's driving off circuit there in Penultimate Turn. That's just to stay out of the way of the pack that's coming through. Knows Vantage is behind him. He's not racing with him. So lap 48 is completed. Got just over 20 minutes to go. We are going to reach over 60 laps in this one. There's MPL in 13th place, closing in on Mike as they enter the last turn. MPL knows he's a quicker driver than Mike, so this shouldn't be too difficult of an overtake. Through turn 2 they go. And MPL is not in front yet. Now, how far is Leonot behind Daru? Because Not has just gone through turn 3. Daru is only just going through turn 2 on the next lap. So I doubt that Not is going to get in front of Daru, to be honest with you. McKenzie in 7th place, where he needs to be. Facco is still yet to make his final trip to the pits, so McKenzie will move in front of him. And MPL has now got in front of Mike into 12th position. Daru's coming up to lap Ryan, who's running in 5th place. Now, Ryan will know that Daru is still yet to make a last trip to the pits, but even though he may be in the fight for the championship, Ryan cannot ignore blue flags. Unless Daru decides now is the time to duck into the pits. He stays out there for a little while. Daru continuing on his way. Vantage is going through. Now, interestingly, and this has just come into my head, can Daru do a quick enough stop, just as what Not did earlier, and keep hold of the lead? Probably not. We'll wait and see further down the lane. I think Mackenzie's just got in front of Nez into 6th place, which will become 5th once Facco makes his last trip to the pits. we've got Daru, Facco, Brooker, Yaki and Matthews still yet to make one last trip to the pits. About 17 minutes to go as the 166-one's wide again. That's Brooker. We'll be hoping to see the back of this race as Yaki goes through ahead of him. No, he doesn't. Brooker defends the position, in which he is allowed to do so as they are fighting for position. This is the battle for 8th between the Aston Martin and the BMW. And Liam Knott continuing to push hard. He's chasing after Facco, who's not in the same race as he is. He's coming up to lap Mike, who should stay out of the way here. He knows he's not fighting, and so he wisely stays out of the way and lets Knott go through. And Nez is still in the battle with Mackenzie, believe it or not, as Yaki comes in. Now, is Nez going to go for it into turn 2? The answer is no. Mackenzie protects his line and position, does everything right to remain in front. And I can tell you that Daru is making use of the clear track. I think once he encounters traffic, that will prompt him to come into the pits because he cannot afford to lose any time. Vantage on your track map is just going through turn 4. Daru is just going through the corkscrew of turns 7 and 8. So Daru will not keep hold of the lead, no matter how quick his pit stop will be, because there is a 50 km/h pit lane speed limit, which the drivers have to adhere to. And Facco is in for his last stop. That will move Ryan back up into 4th place. And that will move Mackenzie and Nez up into 5th and 6th. And Facco does his stop. He will not get out in front of Mackenzie or Nez though, I don't think. No, they're going to go past him. So Facco rejoins behind the pair of them. And he's down to 7th. And Cord running off the track. He's got to be careful though, because there's a couple of cars coming past him. Not sure what happened there involving Cord, but he's lost a horrible amount of time. So yeah, Yaki's just gone through ahead of him. This has been a really poor race now for Cord. He's not had the best time of it in the second half of the race. So we've just got 3 drivers yet to make their last trip to the pits. They are Daru, Brooker and Matthews. So when will Daru decide to pit in? Not this lap. I reckon he'll stay out until the very end. Vantage is coming up to a little bit of traffic now. He's coming up behind Brooker, so we'll go to him. And you can see he's flashing his headlights, which is very wise for him to do that, to make Brooker aware. He'll probably learn his lesson from his melodies with Daru earlier. Yeah. So Vantage is coming up behind Brooker. And Vantage is not through yet. And Brooker should get off the line here, and he lets him through there now. So Vantage, I don't think he's lost too much time. We've just lost a driver from the server now as well. Can't tell who that is that's left. I believe, working it out who it might be there. And the answer to that question, yeah, it's Cord that's gone. So Cord has lost connection. So that is him out of the championship hunt now as well. But there's still the team's championship on the line, so he needs to get back in as soon as possible. There's that. that he's in the fight with to help with Yaki. Well, Daru and Leonot are running in. Well, they're running first and third, but it'll effectively be second and third once Daru completes his stop. They're on course to get a total of 75 points from this race. The Porsche Racing team, which will move on to 279, which will see them leapfrog the We Love Race and the Dasmanus Racing team. This will come very handy. So this will see them leapfrog 2 teams into 5th place. I think Cord had lost connection, so just hope to see him back before the race ends. So Nez in, well, that's Vantage in P2. Daru still hasn't come in for his last stop. He needs to do so soon. As we watch Brooker. Is that Brooker in the pit? No, it's Davison has just come into the pits. So we've got just over 10 minutes remaining, 55 laps completed. The lead that Daru has got is going to be around about 25 seconds. That's definitely not going to be enough, really, to keep hold of the lead, I would have thought. Vantage has been trying to make his way through traffic, though. So 10 minutes remaining. And Mackenzie and Nez are still fighting over 5th position, as Nez trails Sparks on the exit. And looks like the 986 of Matthews has gone for a little bit of well, not lawn mowing, but he's gone for a little bit of gravel sweeping, or whatever you want to call it. Daru continues to stay out, runs wide though, that's not going to help him one bit. And Davison has been in the pits for some time now as well. So Mackenzie very close to championship glory here, running in 5th place, which is more than enough. What must Ryan be thinking after that disconnection at Indianapolis when that podium was all but his? Daru continuing to stay out. He's not in traffic at the moment. He's got to make this stop though. Failure to do so will result in a time penalty. Now, if Cord can't get back into... Well, before I go on to that, I just want to see how Daru gets on, because he's coming into the pits now at the end of lap 57, 8 minutes to go. With this long left in the race, he should not take too long in his box. Now, there's Vantage. In fact, Daru's done his stop now. Well, that was a very quick one. It was just exactly like what his teammate did. So Daru has done his stop now. Vantage has entered the last turn, but I think Daru's done enough to retain the lead here. He has done. So Daru, in the Porsche, keeps hold of the race lead here at Laguna Seca. Vantage isn't too far behind. But that could well be the moment that decides this race. It doesn't affect things in the championship. But Vantage will have to dig in deep now, and they'll have to pass him on the track. The gap was 2.9 seconds after Sector 1. Oh, he's running wide there. His Vantage. He needs to be careful. He had to lift off the throttle there. Had he kept his throttle going, he would have been spinning round, and that would not have helped him one bit. Liam Knott is in third place at the moment, so the Porsche Racer team are on course for a good haul of points here. They'll be up to 5th in the team standings. As it stands, Ryan is in 4th place in the McLaren. Bikenzi's in 5th. Nez 6th. Facco 7th. As Brooker continues to spin round in the Aston Martin. This has been a race to forget for Brooker. And he's still got a pit stop to make as well. And after that off, I've got a feeling he may just duck into the pits and get that pit stop done now. And he stays out there. Oh, he's continuing to go straight on though. Brooker, keep the car on the track. He stays on. Cabo in 10th, MPL 11th, and Mike, despite that stop and go penalty he had to take earlier, is in 12th. There's Matthews in 13th. Now Mike, I'm just looking to see how far is he ahead of Matthews at the moment. Let's take a look. It looks like I don't think he's a whole lap ahead of Matthews. So Matthews is only just coming into turn 10 on his lap, and Mike has just gone through turn 5 on the next. But I think Matthews is going to run out of time unless Mike continues to make a mistake like we've just seen him do there at turn 6. And the gap has come down to 2.2 seconds between Daru in the lead and Vantage in second. Well, it's definitely going to be a lot closer now, I think. Well, it's still 2.2 seconds at the end of the lap. I would say we've got 4 laps to go in this race now, so we're on course for a 63-lap race, which is more than what I thought there was going to be, considering the pit stops. Now, Nez needs to be very careful. He does not get in the way here. And 2.3 seconds it is now. The leaders are coming up to the traffic as Brooker comes in for his final stop. He'll lose the position to Yaki, but no lower than that. Still 2.3 seconds between the top 2 in this race. Ryan at the moment is just under 6 seconds behind Liam Knott. And that's increased, and MPL not staying out of the way of Ryan. He needs to do so going into turn 2 here. And things move out of the way now. So Ryan goes through. Mackenzie pulling away from Nez, who allows Valentine to go past. Got someone in the pits now. That's Matthews who's coming to get that stop done before the race is over. There's not there in third place. Barnes is just a long way ahead of him. The gap is 2 seconds now. I think maybe even less than that. No, it's 2.1. So Matthews has done his stop and he'll rejoin in 13th place. Davison hasn't rejoined the circuit, neither has Frank, neither has Prentice or Cord. And none of the 2 reserves who were in this evening that are no longer in the lobby, Chatty Duck and Gerhawk. Vantage pushing ever so hard, but he continues making a mistake. He nearly drops it on the exit of turn 9, but he continued. But that's going to hurt his hopes in regaining the lead from Daru, who's on course for his second win of the season, to go with what he picked up in Austin. Just 2 laps to go now in this race. Hence is the next driver to be lapped by Daru. Now this could get a little bit interesting. 2.5 seconds is the gap between Daru and Vantage through sector 1. I think Daru has got this race in his pocket unless he makes a mistake now. And the gap is still around about the same, I think. It's 2.1 seconds now. Mackenzie is about to be lapped by the race leader now. Stays out of the way. So he may end up doing 1 lap less than what the leaders will be, but I'm sure he'll take it. I don't know how much fuel he's got left in the car, but I'm sure that will contribute to the reason. He'll need to stay out of the way of Vantage as well. We're now on the final lap of this season. Daru, after that mistake earlier, has kept himself in the hunt for the race victory after a brilliant last stop to complete an overcut. And the gap between him and Vantage has come down to 1.7 seconds at the end of the previous lap. And the gap now is 1.5. I think he'll take it easy though in the remaining moments of this race. So Vantage, can he get close enough? I don't think he will. As Daru keeps his car pointing the right way, doing all the right things. Comes up to the corkscrew for the last time. The gap is 1.3 seconds now. But Daru, I think, should just take it easy from here. So Daru in the Porsche. It's been a splendid race. It's been a brilliant end of season form from him. He was second last week. He was second the week before. He's going to go 1 better here at Laguna Seca. Daru in the Porsche is going to come through to win in Tier 3 in the FRL in Taco Tuesday. Daru takes it, but we want to go to Kevin McKenzie in the Lexus. He becomes the Tier 3 champion, the Formula Racing League, Taco Tuesday. Pat yourself on the back, Kevin. You have done it. Vantage comes through in second place, 1.3 seconds behind the race winner. Liam Knott from the pit lane is going to collect a podium finish, and well deserved as well. He could have won this race had it not been for whatever that error was before the formation lap had begun. He's going to come through in third place. Ryan had done a decent effort in this one, but it just wasn't to be, not enough for him. But even if he had won the race, Mackenzie still would have been crowned champion. So Liam Knott will come home in third, Ryan fourth, Mackenzie in fifth. Nez picks up some good points in sixth. Facco, a fine seventh for him. Yaki eighth. Brooker will be ninth. Cablo rounds out the top 10. MPL will be 11th. Mike 12th. A decent effort from him. Matthews shown in 13th place. Cord may be classified in 14th, depending on what the stewards say. Davison didn't make it to the end though. Neither did Frank or Prentice. So there's your classification. Daru wins, had advantage. Liam Knott in third place. Ryan, the last driver on the lead lap, in fourth. Mackenzie, who's crowned champion, is fifth. Nez in sixth in the Honda, with Facco seventh. Yaki 8th, Brooke 9th, Cablo 10th. MPL and Mike are 11th and 12th, followed by Matthews. Cord is 12 laps down. He had a disconnection though, so he may be allowed the points. It'll be very important as well for his team if he does get it, because that could well decide the team standings. I'll work out the maths, by the way, for the team's championship whilst we go through the race result. Jack Davison did not make it to the end of the race. He didn't complete enough laps. Chastity Duck also had a disconnection, but I doubt we'll get any points for it because he didn't complete enough laps either. Frank also retired, as did Gerhawk, as did Prentice. So only 13 out of the 19 made it to the checkered flag here at Laguna Seca. It's been that sort of race. So we know Mackenzie's champion, Ryan second, and Cord in third place in the drivers. In the team's championship, SBR-T3, with Ryan picking up fourth, that is 34 points, and Cablo picking up 22 points. That gives them a total of 56. That moves them on to 463. Finnif Oldies with Cord. Now, if Cord gets 14th place, that'll give him 17. And if Yaki was to be given, and Yaki with 8th place, that'll give him 26. That gives them 40 points, which puts them onto 438. So that's not enough for Finnif Oldies, unfortunately. BBR Racing with Mackenzie and Brooker. Mackenzie collects 32 points for finishing 5th. Brooker finished 9th, getting only 24. So that is only 56 points for them, which puts them onto 443 points. I think that's correct, which moves them in front of Finnif Oldies, if my maths is correct. So Yaki getting 8th place, that would be 20. Yeah, it's 26, and Cord in 14 points. Yeah, 40. So I think BBR Racing have leapfrogged Finnif Oldies into second place in the team's championship overall. But congratulations to the SBR-T3 team with Ryan and Cablo on collecting the team's championship. But one man in particular who will be smiling all the way through the night with delight is Kevin Mackenzie. Very, very well done to him. And despite that, he didn't win a single race all year, but his run of consistency has helped him win the championship. So all I can say to you is thank you very much for watching. If you did enjoy that and want to get involved more in the FRL, have a look in the YouTube description of all the championships they do. You can find out all the race results as well on the website, and all the results in all the other championships as well. You can find all the sponsors to go with that. You can also get involved in the Discord server. There's also the Facebook page, Instagram account as well, if you want to follow there as well. And of course, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel as well. We've reached over 500 subscribers. We'd love it to be even more than that. I'm going to end it there then. It's been a brilliant season. 10 rounds of exciting action. The championship that went down to the wire. And Kevin Mackenzie in the Lexus is your champion from Tier 3 in the Taco Tuesday series in Season 7 of the FRL. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll do it over again in the new year. Have a good Christmas, and we'll see you again in 2023. I'm Tom Cairns, and I'll speak to you again soon when the Formula Racing League returns.